Hey everybody, welcome back. It's me, Cole. That's my name. This is my channel, and it's been a minute, so I'm gonna do a little housekeeping at the front of this, and then we'll get into the review for Kagurabachi Volume 6, which I read recently. But at the top of the episode, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the channel because I haven't been uploading as much. I've just been very busy, working a normal job, and I've got a band, and just some other life stuff that's been going on. And sorry about the mess in this video too. It's a little impromptu. I'm working on a guitar, so these are guitar pickups, and I got some cables, doing all kinds of stuff outside of channel stuff and serving it, and working on the other YouTube channels that I'm involved with. So I apologize. I mean, obviously, this channel is a hobby for me, but for anybody who does watch, I do really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. I love throwing my voice out into the void, and I love creating conversation with people about it. And I'm pretty dedicated to continuing to talk about this series because I think Kagurabachi deserves it. I think it's really good. I have a lot more content I want to put up on the channel. It's just hard because it's hard to focus in. I think I might just throw out there some ideas that I had and see what sticks, like I had before with my channel. All that being said, just expect the uploads to be kind of sparse, but hopefully I can find something that sticks and is fun to do for this channel. This will not affect the podcasts. Tales from the Shelf and Fresh Takes will still be continuing with my co-hosts. Those also are just somewhat difficult to schedule with having it with the co-hosts and having other people's schedules conflicting as well. And it's nothing too crazy. I just wanted to say that for the people who really do watch stuff, and again, that I really appreciate it. We'll jump right into the video. If you do want some more content that I'm involved with at all, if you're interested in that, you can go over to Spillage Studios, which I do with my buddies Patrick and Ethan. Ethan you might know from Tales of the Shelf. We talk about movies and TV, mostly with a horror movie type bend, but we kind of just talk about everything over there. So go check out that. The Slash Cast is the main series that I'm involved in. It's the podcast we do over there. And we've done some pretty good videos recently, so I'd love it if you check those out. And Boss Nasty is where I do some gaming videos with Ethan from Tales from the Shelf. And we put out videos pretty consistently over there, and a podcast over there as well called Two Guys One Show. We'll have a video on Claire Obscure Expedition 33, a kind of retrospective type podcast coming out over there soon, and we're playing Kingdom Hearts. So go check that stuff out if you're interested. I'd really appreciate it. And again, sorry for the wait for anybody who's been interested in my thoughts on Kagurabachi Volume 6. I actually read it. It could have been 2 weeks ago now. The time has kind of gotten away from me, and I really enjoyed it, and I'd been meaning to make the video, but I've just been working on some other projects and whatnot. I'm also trying to do some more behind-the-scenes stuff, graphics for all the channels, including this one. So a lot of stuff cooking. It just takes some time. Again, YouTube is a hobby for me. I'm not a big enough person to be able to do this as a job. Not that I even need to. I truly enjoy it as a hobby and enjoy just being a part of whatever conversation. And with the way the internet is going, I feel like there's no reason not to throw your voice out there. I don't really use much social media anymore. I've been kind of honestly trying to reel back from it, but keeping YouTube as kind of my own personal place to talk and start conversation, even if it's just with myself, has been really nice. So all that housekeeping out of the way, we're going to get into Kagurabachi Volume 6. This came out last month in February. It could be 2 months ago by the time this video comes out, because I'm recording this in late March. Oh, also, my birthday was last week, so I was a little busy. So if this doesn't come out till April, this came out in February, early February to be exact. And I got it pretty much right when it came out. I think I pre-ordered it, actually. I only know that because it came out on the same day as Absolute Batman Volume 2, which we did recently on Tales from the Shelf, the first 2 volumes of that. Go check out that episode if you haven't. Yeah, I was really excited for this. The Kagurabachi releases have been getting... Well, I got into Kagurabachi after the first 3 volumes were released, so I got in pretty luckily to get a good amount of the story before I had to wait now for the releases. And I've been reading it physically. I could read it digitally, and I'm almost tempted to catch up digitally to where the series is now. But I've been really enjoying waiting for the releases and reading it physically because it's added kind of another aspect to it. It's the same with when shows on streaming come out and they come out all at once, the whole season, and you binge right through it. It's not as satisfying as waiting every week, like every Tuesday or whatever. I've been waiting for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 has been airing, and I've been watching that as it comes out. Amazing, by the way. I just watched the Sendai Colony season finale, which was a part of the manga I was really excited to get to in the anime, and it was gas. It was awesome. I know as I'm recording this today, Hell's Paradise Season 2, which I had started that anime not too long ago, is coming to an end, so I will be watching that as well. Probably after I record this video, to be honest with you. So yeah, I think after that I'm going to catch up on Invincible, because I read some of the comics when I was a little bit younger, but I think I'm just going to watch the series all the way through, and then I'll eventually get back to reading through the rest of the comics, because I just hear a lot of buzz about it. Plus, Ethan from Tales from the Shelf wants to talk about it, maybe just even outside of videos. So, again, all my rambling being said, we're going to get into Volume 6 now. I think on the face of it, if you're just looking for a straight-up review, I've given all the Kagurabachi volumes a pretty high score, and I would say this one keeps it up with kind of in that 7, even 8 range. The series really has not died down for me as far as excitement, enjoyment, hype, any of that stuff. This volume specifically is all gas. I mean, this volume is almost completely fights. Picking up from where we left off in the last volume, so Chihiro, the Black Market arc kind of wrapped up in the last volume, and we were going into this new arc where they're going to save the living sword bearers so the Hishaku organization can't get to them. And so Chihiro and some of the other main cast, Hakuri, and I'm forgetting the girl with flame bones name, but she's one of the really strong sorcerers. They're all kind of tasked with going and saving these sword bearers. And we got a little bit of a tease of Urahara, who is the sword bearer here on the cover, in the last volume. And we jump right into where that ended. So Urahara was being held at, I believe it was Sengoku Temple, and that comes under attack in the beginning of this volume. And Urahara does not have their enchanted blade, because the Hishaku has the blades. But, that being said, Urahara is really good with the sword, so they escape Sengoku Temple, and they meet up with Hakuri and Chihiro. And we get introduced to another new character. Hirohiko is the name of this person. They're kind of setting up to be this rival for Chihiro. And they're pretty strong. And they kind of hold Chihiro up for most of the volume with a fight with them. And I really appreciate Hirohiko because I think I may have said this in previous videos. I don't know how much influence Jujutsu Kaisen has on this series, but I have to imagine it's a decent amount. I did see Hokuzono on Reddit. I saw that he posted at the end of Modulo, don't end the series, which I kind of agreed with. I was not super satisfied with Modulo's ending, but I'll talk about Modulo eventually. I'm kind of waiting for the English volumes to come out so I can talk about that series. And JJK as a whole, I'm trying to get the rest of the series physically because I want to reread through it. Again, another tangent. But Hirohiko's power is like kind of like paper-based, like controlling paper. And for some reason, it just really reminded me of JJK. Maybe it's just because I just watched the Reggie-Star Megami fight from Season 3. But something about that just really rang as like Jujutsu Kaisen, Gege Akatami type of stuff to me, and I really appreciated that. And it's a super cool fight. Again, like most videos, I'll try and throw a few panels up here, but not like spoiling everything. Again, the art is stellar. I think Hokuzono has this amazing style, and I know I've said it in previous volumes. I love the straight black and whites contrast in so much of his stuff. And also just the graphic design of how he lays out his panels is very dynamic, but yet still easy to follow. I love the writing, too. I think the characters are so fun and bubbly, but they also know how to get serious. It's not that Marvel, like, oh, well, that just happened type thing. But the characters are still likable. There's enough comic relief to keep things going while keeping the epic, like, fighting aspect of the series going. And I just really appreciated all of that. So the B plot of this volume, well, I would actually say it's more of the A plot. The A plot is Hakuri goes to the next sword bearer, Mr. Samura, who is being held at another location that is about to come under attack. And Mr. Samura is a blind samurai, blind sword bearer, who uses smell and sound, almost kind of like in a Daredevil type way, to get this kind of echolocation. And as another tangent, I had said I'd started watching Hell's Paradise. I did wonder if the blind swordsman character in that maybe influenced Samura at all. But he kind of does a slightly different thing. But the way he depicts Samura's echolocation, too, is very cool. It's kind of like just like that inverse colors, black and white type thing. You've probably seen it with a couple other characters of similar abilities and different stuff. Especially, it gives me like huge Daredevil vibes. But he kind of, even though he's supposed to be the one being protected, and he has like a little squadron of ninjas who are like tasked with protecting him as well, he just goes right at it and fights the Hishaku head on and is really holding his own. But he's starting to get overwhelmed, so the other characters have to get involved. Luckily, these ninjas are like basically trained to fight with him. They're like a specific family or clan who have been a part of this like protection unit for a long time, and they're also like trained to fight with Samura, so like they don't interrupt his echolocation abilities that he's doing. And I thought they were fun little characters. We didn't learn a lot about them in this volume because their introduction is a little bit sparse, and they don't really join the fight till towards the end. But basically, Urahara shows up at this fight as well with Hakuri. They all kind of get involved with fighting with the Hishaku, and they need Hakuri to gain contact with the Hishaku, or sorry, gain contact with the sword bearers, so he can use his like I jokingly call it like hidden inventory power or his storehouse secondary ability to pull the swords away from the Hishaku. And give them to the sword bearers. And it comes into this tense moment where Samura is kind of like about to lose it, and the ninjas try to sacrifice their lives to do this kind of mandala teleportation thing. It almost reminded me of if you've seen Jujutsu Kaisen 0 when Gojo sends Panda and Inumaki back to Jujutsu High. Like almost this like, or even like a Naruto type like seal thing. They make like this seal on the ground that they're going to use to teleport the sword bearers away to save them and kind of sacrifice themselves against the Hishaku. And in that moment, Hakuri pushes himself to his limit again, which kind of harkens back to him in the previous arc where he starts pushing himself to his limit and gets a little awakening. He's been the most like awakening character because Chihiro kind of starts as a main character on a pretty high level of power, which is fine. I like that Hakuri kind of gets that kind of classic shonen style arc. But anyway, Hakuri pushes himself and pulls the enchanted blade for Mr. Samura out. His enchanted blade is called Tobimune, and it's kind of got like a crow theme to it from what we see. It gave me like major like Itachi vibes because he does this crazy like sword slash where all these like crow feathers come out, and that's kind of where the volume cuts off. And then the B plot is Chihiro's plot, fighting Hirohiko. They kind of start fighting each other, and Hirohiko's got this weird villain type thing where loves violence and killing, and also kind of looks down on people without sorcery and powers, and they want to like see the peak of their own power, and so they want to fight Chihiro, and they start saying weird stuff about how they're friends, but basically Hirohiko was raised by the Shaku to be like this murderous killer, so they don't understand friendship, and Chihiro's basically being the straight man, and is just like, this is not friendship, you're crazy, and I'm gonna kill you, especially if you try and kill these people, and Hirohiko tries to use some of the bystanders as like fodder and stuff so Chihiro won't attack him, and Chihiro just uses some of his abilities to kind of throw Hirohiko off guard and basically take him out. And also, it shows a little bit that Chihiro doesn't care as much about collateral damage as Hirohiko thinks, because Chihiro is totally willing, as a main character, which I really like, to be a little bit more violent to stop an enemy. And he cuts Hirohiko up just to interrogate him. And then Chihiro, after defeating Hirohiko, goes to link up with the rest of the crew, which I assume will pick up in the next volume for this next big fight with the Hishaku that is being staged where Mr. Samura and the other sword bearers are. And yeah, I mean, really, that's kind of the story of this volume. It seems like a volume that is leading into a pretty epic climax for this little section that I'm super excited about. And not to say that this volume is worth like skipping or there's not like anything super interesting here. I mean, it's a lot of fight. It's a lot of fighting. We do get a little bit of explanation about the enchanted blades of Urahara and Mr. Samura, and we also get some background on Mr. Samura because he was one of the only people other than Shiba who knew about Chihiro because he was very close with Chihiro's dad, and I guess Mr. Shiba took Chihiro out away from the house and ran into him at one point, and he used his sense of smell to find out that it was Rokuhiro's son. This actually might have been after Rokuhiro passed, I believe, but also he was close with Rokuhiro as well, and that's why he realized he was his son. Urahara also is the youngest sword bearer and sees the resemblance between Chihiro and his dad and basically starts like worshipping Chihiro because he was a huge fan of Chihiro's dad, Mr. Rokuhiro. And that's like an interesting dynamic that I assume is going to play out a little bit more as we get more of that character, because Urahara does play a pretty big part in this volume, but mostly just as like a fighter and like running away, because they're running away from the Hishaku who are laying siege to all of the sword bearer temples and trying to come after them. We also get another kind of tease of the most powerful sword bearer, the one who wields the Shinichi, so I assume we're kind of building up to see him, even though he kind of gives me the vibes that he's going to be a villain. Try not to spoil me, but that's the vibes that I'm getting. And again, with the spoiler stuff, it's why I'm really thinking about like catching up with the series beyond the physical, because now that I've also been like looking at the Reddit a lot and stuff, I feel like I'm about to get spoiled for some stuff that I don't want to get spoiled for, because this series is good enough that I am actually genuinely worried about spoilers. I feel like if I'm worried about spoilers, that usually means something is pretty good. On the whole, yeah, I'd give this one a good 7, 8 out of 10. I mean, if we're talking about the art bumping it up, I'd say it's an 8. As far as story, I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. It's still good, it's still keeping me engaged, but it definitely feels like the bridge to a more reveals and more bigger story moments that are coming. And I did like Chihiro's fight with Hirohiko, but I would have liked to see it wrap up a little quicker because in this volume, just because I wanted to see Chihiro link up and fight with everybody else a little bit more. and be a little bit more involved in all of that. But on the whole, like, no complaints. And the art is just continuing to be stellar. I actually found the panel with the sword strike that I was talking about and like the crow stuff, and that got me super hyped for the next volume. I feel like that is the best thing I can say about Kagurabachi, is that every volume I have read has kept me engaged and hyped me up for the next volume. And I think that's like one of the best strengths you can say about a serialized series like this. And I'm sure if I was reading it weekly, I'd feel the same way. Even though I do feel like with most manga, in my opinion, reading by the volume is almost better, because they usually, it's just a little more content to chew on, because manga chapters, unlike Western comics, of course, can be a little bit shorter, and sometimes you might get a week where it's not as interesting, and that's to no fault of the author. It's the Shonen Jump, or just Jump, like, style of publishing, where it's weekly, and you're really working hard to get these chapters out, so not everything is just going to be a banger all the time. You got to kind of build up to it, and I totally get that, but that's why I think the volume reading experience has always been more interesting to me, as far as the manga space is concerned. But that's like genuinely my thoughts on the volume. There's not like so much to say, but I did want to get this video out because I've been reviewing the series as it's been coming out. And yeah, I still highly recommend it. I still think it's definitely one to check out if you're interested in this style of thing, battle shonen type stuff, or just like battle fighting superhero superpower type comic stuff, the stuff that I generally talk about on this channel. Yeah, and that being said, like I said in the beginning, for all those who do watch, thank you so much. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We can start a conversation if you want. I'm always down to talk about stuff like this that I enjoy. And as far as this channel is concerned, like I said, I have a lot of videos planned and a lot of things I want to do, and I might just start throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. But it might still be a little sparse because I have some other hobby projects like YouTube type stuff and stuff outside of that I'm in, and also just working a job. So, you know, it is what it is. But thank you guys again, no matter what. And definitely check out Kagurabachi. Really hoping that we're going to get to see something about Kagurabachi's anime this year. I'm not holding out hope because obviously it just got picked up by a studio, so it's probably going to be some time. But I'd really love to see even just a little tease of what it's going to look like, because I've been really enjoying this series and it needs to be animated. And now picking up something like Hell's Paradise, which I did not read the manga for, but I want to go back and read the manga because that series has been really great. There's a few rocky spots that I was like a little weird by, but every anime's got stuff like that. But other than that, I've been really enjoying that as well. So, weird side recommendation. Hell's Paradise is pretty good if you're interested in like this kind of manga anime type stuff. It's a little bit in its own realm compared to something like Kagurabachi or even Jujutsu Kaisen, or, you know, to your typical battle series, but it's still got those beats and it's got its own thing going on. And some of the stuff in Hell's Paradise really does remind me of Kagurabachi in some ways, so I wonder if there's some influence there too. Again, I don't know too much about the author Hokuzono, but I really like his story, and I think I see a lot of influences in other stuff that I really enjoy, so I think that's pretty cool. I guess. I mean, I think it's pretty cool in general. Positive video, good stuff. Go read this. Go read in general. I have not been reading enough, and that's probably another reason I haven't been uploading videos. It's hard to keep up with, but I always recommend it because I think it's really good for you. Hope this gave you some good recommendations. Maybe you learned something. Maybe you just had fun. Otherwise, hopefully there'll be some more exciting stuff coming on the channel. Look out for Tales from the Shelf, fresh takes, and some new stuff. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in whatever the next thing that comes out on this channel is. And if you want to see more of me, like I said, check out those other channels. I'll try and put them in the description, but I'm not big enough on YouTube to have links in my description. So thank you, Google, and peace.